Hello, everybody. I'm CJ Miller. I'm in my kitchen in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. Please come check us out. We'd love to show you around. As a matter of fact, this weekend, the annual Mudbug Madness, which is a crawfish festival that lasts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and lots of great music that reflects much Louisiana and surrounding culture is going to be playing. It's going to be great. I'll try to get over there. Um, we'll see. I'm still, I'm setting money aside for a cruise that's upcoming, so I don't know if I'm going to go this year to it or not, but maybe I will. I don't know. The tickets are $10 for the day, 15 for the weekend if you're but yeah, so I may get over there, I may not, I don't know. It really depends upon the company that I'm running with. But it's a really good time. I go there just about every year, so if I don't go this year, I don't mind missing it because I do know that I'm saving for something awesome. So, speaking of awesome, what's in this pot is it's a roux that I'm going to call a Mirepoix au Poivre, which is be French to say, a brown roux. Mirepoix basically means chopped vegetables, aromatics, and au poivre meaning with pepper. So that's why I concocted that name. And basically, what I've done was I've taken, you can get these in the bags already diced up if you want to, onions, bell peppers, and that was the blend that I had. There were maybe chops of carrots in there, something like that. I don't know, but and the pieces started out much larger than this. They have cooked down and have rendered a lot of vegetable stock off of this, so that's great. And then to that mixture, and it was just the vegetables in here sauteing. I put in a couple of celery, chops of fresh celery, and some garlic, some minced garlic, and put that in a little bit of oil, you can see. And then once the vegetables got, when you cooked it until the most of the onions got a little, translucent. Certainly until they start to get fragrant and you start to feel that aroma. Then what I did was I kind of pushed them off to the side and I put an equal amount of all-purpose flour and a little bit more fat and oil into the pan. And as you can see, even as I've cooked, even some more juices and more, just everything has rendered off and has created more fluids and everything, and that's fine. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get this roux as dark as I possibly can. And this is so at that point where it's going to turn probably right in front of us as I'm talking. But you take the equal parts and a small amount. And what's going to happen is it's going to, with the vegetables, when you stir them around, it's going to, this roux is going to cling to your vegetables. Versus, if you want to take the vegetables out, you can put the roux in and it'll go a little faster because it'll cook on the bottom of the pan versus clinging to the vegetables. But we see here that it's starting to turn brown. So the key to a roux is patience. Like me, a lot of people will want to add your fluids to make the brown sauce basically too soon in a roux like this. Want the pan to get a little hot. In a Teflon, we don't go higher than a medium, but that is plenty hot to do every bit of cooking that you need to do on a stovetop. You can boil anything at a medium on an electric burner stove. So, and I could have, oh, this is so fragrant and delicious. See, it's starting to get darker just as we're talking. What I want to do is we want to get this, keep it moving because we want to get as much of that roux touching the pan as much as we can, because that's where what we're looking for is something called the Maillard effect, or caramelization, the browning, basically. We want that to happen. And of course, at this point, if you want to, you can drop in a little bit of browning droplets. I've got a kitchen bouquet. A drop or two kitchen bouquet would certainly turn this into a really, really dark roux. But with a little patience, even that's not going to be necessary, though I have plenty of that on hand. I never really run out of kitchen bouquet if I can help it. If I can find it, and when we have it here in the stores, I get it. And then, of course, the reason why is because when we don't have it, everybody wants it. It is great stuff. And any browning sauce, you know, but a kitchen bouquet I love because it's got those, I just love the flavor of the way they render their aromatics, and it's condensed aromatics. And then, of course, they put their products in that give it that dark color. But we want the effect of like a really good roux for this recipe that I'm doing, which is going to be a chicken recipe. But you can do anything if you want to with this. I'm not even going to bread the chicken because it's going to have a good gravy, a really good flavor, this good gravy. Good gravy. Here we go. There we are. Now we are at the point where this is just about to turn. I've got my little sauce pot of water over to the side, ready to pour in. And you want to do that slowly. And what I'm going to recommend doing, because what happens when you add water to a pot like this, you're going to get a blast of steam. So I'm going to recommend turning on the exhaust if you haven't already, if you're doing something like this. Oh, and by the way, this will take a good 25 minutes or so just to get to this level. You can continue to keep cooking. The darker you can get your roux, the better. But this is going to be plenty brown enough for me as of right now. And the reason why is I'm not doing a beef roast or something like that where I want that, you know, where that dark au jus would clash with the flavorful roast. What I'm doing is I'm doing chicken. So this can be a little bit lighter, but let's get the exhaust on. Watch how this, watch this effect. Pour in slowly. Oh, you know, maybe a quart and a half, 2 quarts of liquid, give or take. You can use a broth if you want to. What I've done is, as I was making that Mirepoix, so this turns into like a watery deluge. But as it cooks down, it's going to take and it's going to thicken and it's going to spread these flavors around. So, and if you find that you've done this and your roux is a little bit too light, don't concern yourself. This will return to a brown when it gets to a good rolling boil. When it gets to a good rolling boil, and then it starts to settle, it's going to return to that rich brown color. I could have put a little bit of liquid in at a time and kind of filled it out and showed you what that good gravy would look like. I want a thicker sauce. This would be a good starter for a soup, by the way. Your gumbos, anything like that. So the combination, I'll tell you, the Mirepoix, it starts out, if I were going to do this by hand, I would start out with what we call a trinity. That is onion in roughly 2 parts to 1 part bell pepper to 1 part celery, give or take. That's for me, that's not locked, that's not etched in stone. You can just, because traditionally what you would do with these recipes is what you do is you include basically whatever you have on hand. And if you happen to have on hand less onion and more bell pepper, your trinity may vary, or more celery or whatever. You may have more of a celery lead flavor or something. That's fine. You work with what you have in the kitchen. But they also, a lot of people give that ratio of 2-part onion, 1 part bell pepper, 1 part celery. Anyway, get those cooked down. Then if you want to, you add your chunks of carrots, thinly sliced, very minced up, because carrots, you want to get those firm. And the whole idea is to render some juices from the carrots. You want to do a saute. I sauteed mine in a little bit of seasoning salt. Okay, just a run of the mill. I think I just used a Chestnut Hill, just a generic seasoning salt. Just a pinch or two over it, and then I added a little bit of bouillon. And I have, my bouillon is in a powder form. You can get the little squares or whatever. But I waited until the vegetables were tender before I did that, because I added the bouillon and kind of got them all brown. And then what I did was I added, the very last bit that I added was a granulated garlic. And with garlic, I want to add that last. I want to add that just right before I put the roux in. Sometimes even if I can, I want to get the roux going. But the reason why I added these before the roux is because it was coming out of a minced jar, a chopped garlic out of a jar, and it was liquefied, and I wanted to get some of that liquid out of the pot before I made the roux. As we make this sauce that we're working on, this brown sauce, as you can see, it's already starting to brown up and become less water and more of a sauce. And as it cooks, and when it comes to a rolling boil, you'll see that it really comes together, coagulates, comes together as we want it to, if coagulation is the right term. But it emulsifies, that's a good word for it. So, because that's really what it is, an emulsion, Some of this is a chemical change where some of the flavors are going to mingle and bond and cling. And I'll tell you, with something like this, the slower and the longer you can cook it, the better. Like, it's about 7 right now. It's at 6:40, 20 minutes till 7. And I'm going to put in the chicken legs into this. As soon as I get this sauce really kind of boiling, I want to bring this up to a boil. And, like popping hot, boil. And then I want to reduce it. Then I'll put in the chicken drumsticks I'm using. And I'm not even going to season the chicken drumsticks because the sauce is so seasoned. And then I will just boil it down until it's tender from the bone. Like, I don't want the meat. I don't want it to be, at this point, I want to be able to pick up a drumstick and put it on a plate. I don't necessarily want it falling off of the bone. If for some reason I were to overcook it and it were to slide off the bone, that's okay. I would just remove every bone and then stir the chicken in and still have a really good meal. I just think for presentation, I want to leave it on the bone. For me, I don't know, I like drumsticks. And there's flavor in a chicken bone and the marrow that comes through and everything, so, whatever. There's this school of thought that, and it's really sad too, that some people have this idea that chicken breast and white meat chicken and everything are kind of, if you do that, depending upon how you do it, is kind of a, kind of a poshy meal. Maybe the lower end of a posh meal or something like that, because it's not a gourmet filet or something. But yeah, so chicken breast is okay. Chicken wing, certainly sporty, the most sporty part of the chicken. and you get down to a chicken leg, and especially those leg quarters, if it's cut into a leg quarter, oh, I've known some people, one person in particular, to have just a damn near conniption over being served a leg quarter. This was several years ago, and we were over at their house, and my partner at the time, we were visiting his best friend and his partner at the time, and they were, they were kind of a few pegs up there in our local society. Not that I care about those things, but my partner at the time really did. So anyway, we go there and we're served. And here's the thing. We are served our meals basically sitting around the living room, casual style, prepared to watch the TV. Very informal dinner, but in the informality of it all, never mind that, our friend's partner has a freak out because he is being served this disgusting chicken leg quarter that is befitting poor people. Like, how dare, he literally went there with it. It's nasty. It's he just whole, and his partner had the resolution to say, hey, would you like me to run up to KFC and get you some Kentucky Fried Chicken, some white meat chicken breast or something like that? And he's like, yes, that's what that. So this idea that in cuisine, white meat is somehow more affluent than dark meat is, it's a senseless class issue that robs some people of really having a wonderful experience with chicken. I love a good chicken breast. I really do. But when it comes to a lot of what I do, especially in French and Cajun cuisine and stocks like this, I want to use chicken thighs, chicken legs. I want the dark meat. I want the flavor. There's a very rich, powerful flavor that you get out of a dark meat that is a different quality than white meat chicken, but it's not a class issue. It is a preference, let me tell you. No kidding. Not to mention, if you're having chicken on the bone, drumsticks and thighs, they're just easier to handle than a larger chicken thigh. A chicken breast. You need to split that chicken breast or whatever. But and so that's what I'm talking about. The difference between the way that white meat is perceived versus dark meat in cuisine. And it's like, where did this come from? I have no idea. And I guess it was in his own home, so if he wanted to have a conniption about the food he was being served, but the food was wonderful. Everything was wonderful, except he was being served this. And maybe it's because, I don't know. I have no idea. Because it wasn't about, oh my God, it's a leg quarter, it's not cut into two pieces for easier hand. It's not anything like that. It was just, how dare you serve this, and why would you even, and it's like he took it as a perception that, oh my God, his guests are going to think that's what he eats, or something. I don't know what his deal was. I don't know. To this day, I cannot figure that level of pissophity. Maybe he was an attorney, a U.S. attorney, in federal court and everything. So maybe he'd had like just a busy, hectic day, and maybe he was like de-stressing or something like that. I don't know. That was the only time I'd ever seen him just really, out of all the years that I'd known him, and I'd known him a few years by that point. That was the only time I saw him just really just have and I felt so bad for the person his partner, to go through all that work, because this guy was an excellent cook. But anyway, see how we're starting to get some light bubbles coming up here? It's great. That is great. I want to get this up to that rolling boil. I don't mind the lid being off. That's why I'm running the exhaust fan, to pull some of that smoke some of that steam as it comes up. This steam and vapors have it go into the vents instead of filling the apartment. But you do want to occasionally give this a little stir. That's going to, not too much though, like you don't want to be constantly stirring something like this, because what happens is you kind of release some of that steam that's inside of the liquid. And I don't know if it's a constant stirring is a little better. I just know that it's unnecessary. This is a non-stick pan, and none of this, even the roux, none of it's going to bind to the bottom and stick to the bottom at this point. So the occasional stirring. But you see, it seems to me when I stirred it that I lost some of the heat that was getting some momentum. But it's going to come right back as we talk. Okay. What I'm going to do is, well, no, I can wait. I'll keep this here until we get to that rolling boil. We were almost there, but I feel like we're about to get there. I see it starting to come up. What's going to make a difference, though, is I've got here beside me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's like 8 drumsticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So, presuming now one drumstick at a setting like this, because these are big, is perfectly fine if you're serving people. If you say, have you served them, a little amuse-bouche, maybe like some canapes or something when they came in, and so now we're going to go to, this would be maybe like a second course, because it's a stock or something like that or whatever. So you would serve like one of these, maybe with a bit of the broth, possibly over a little noodle or rice or something like that. It would be a great second course that you could do this in place of a fish course. If you wanted to have a fish course or a first course, that's great. Then sometimes you can do a chicken. So I kind of alternate the chicken, the pork, and the chicken. All of these, anything that works as a first course can work as a main course. Now I'm not entertaining a bunch of people today. It's just me. So I'm just going to have the chicken, and I'll possibly pull out like some noodles, that have like a chicken, that's meant to be a chicken side or something like that. I keep almost getting to that boil, and I keep wanting to just stir it. And every time I do, I interrupt the boiling process. It's, I don't know, habit. But also your stock, your what we created here basically by adding the bouillon is we've basically have turned this into the equivalent to a broth. So you don't need to add chicken broth to something like this. You can, but because I've added the bouillon, and if you add too much bouillon, you're going to get too much salt. Now here's where the au poivre comes in. Right before I added the water, I wanted to tell you about the Mirepoix would be like, that trinity of vegetables that I told you about, the celery, the onion, the bell pepper, onion being 2-part, and the bell pepper and celery being 1 part each. And then what I did was I added the other things that took the trinity up from being a trinity to Mirepoix, meaning vegetables, aromatic vegetables chopped and sauteing in the bottom of the pan. So that's great. Then the au poivre, you may see some of the brown flakes coming up as it's starting to bubble up. There we go. Let me zoom in on that real quick. So that is ground peppercorn out of a peppercorn mill. And that is our au poivre with pepper. I did that just as I got the well, right before I started the video is when I added it. That's how late I was in the process of adding it. And it's basically because I want to see how all the other flavors mingle together before I add the pepper, so I'll know how much pepper I need. Now, I love a good pepper flavor, and I knew that I was adding chicken, and I want that flavor, that pepper on my chicken. So there we go. Okay. So you're gonna get a good 25 minutes to create a roux, and then and then this video right here, I'm at the 25-minute mark of talking, as I'm just kind of like boiling down some water from that roux, and we're getting it. Here, let me discipline myself, okay? Let me just mentally tell myself, don't touch it, leave it alone. Willpower. I have kicked a lot of bad habits, not all of my bad habits, but I've kicked a few of them by willpower and calling upon a higher power, and I can certainly leave this pot alone and let it boil for a few minutes. Is it true that a watched pot never boils? Here we go, here it comes. I'm starting to get like a lot of currents and motions and everything. Come on. I don't know. I really think that a lot of waiting here is boiling in other areas of the surface too. There we go. I was like mostly right over here. Now I'm seeing something over here. Come on. I want to see this be like angry lava, like boil, Now listen, if you want, you can add a little cayenne pepper, or you could add some red pepper sauce. I love the ones that I love are the crystal hot sauce. Love that. And there's something else. There's another product that we make in Louisiana called tiger sauce, which is essentially just like your red pepper sauces, your crystal hot sauce, your Tabasco, or your Louisiana hot sauce, or something like that. Crystal being my favorite out of all those. But tiger sauce tastes just like that, but it's tempered with sweetness. So instead of liquefied red pepper and vinegar, you get the liquefied red peppers, the vinegar, and some sugars. So that's something. If you like a peppery, hot heat in your food, but you want to bring it down with sweet, you can use that tiger sauce. And that's not a product endorsement that I'm paid for or anything. I don't get paid to do this kind of stuff. I mean, would you pay to sit here and watch me? Would anyone pay me to sit here and boil water for half an hour? Okay. Let me pause this. I'm going to step away from this, and I'm going to give this probably 2, 3, 4 minutes alone. Maybe if I turn away from it. Screw that. What I'm going to do at this point, give this a little stir. It's so close to that rolling boil. I'm comfortable doing this. I'm like, oh my god, that's fine. But you go through like a chow line, and you the people serving, if they're not your friends, when they're friends, they're going to give them a big heaping spoon. If they're not their friends, you're going to get those few little bits, and they're just going to and that's called shaking the spoon. So you go through like a a cafe line, a chow line or something like that, and it's like your friends are all getting the big scoops, and you come through, and they don't really care for you that much, so they just kind of like whatever kind of a little bit of sauce is on the spoon, they just kind of shake it over your plate, and whatever falls off the spoon is what you get to eat. You don't even get a full scoop. That's so funny. Okay, so I now this is going to cool this water down considerably. My hands are clean. Aside from that, this water is going to boil for quite a while. We'll go ahead and put all 8 of these chicken legs in. Now, at some point, depending upon the flavor that we're experiencing, I may want to dilute in water a touch of cornstarch and stir into this pot. What's going to happen as this boils down, this chicken is going to render off. I don't need that right now. The chicken has totally cooled this off. So I definitely want to get this covered in a moment and let that heat come in here and make sure bacteria doesn't set in as it's cooking. You want to hurry up and kill that bacteria by getting this up to temperature, and then you can reduce and simmer. But yeah. When the juices from the chicken run off and become part of the broth that's in here, if I need to thicken it, I can go about this a couple of ways. I can add a little cornstarch diluted in water, because that will thicken it. That will give it a natural gelatine aspect type effect. Or I can kind of pour off from the top some of the oils that collect. Even with this broth, some of the oils, without it cooking down, some of the oils are starting to collect on the top, some of the fats or whatever. So there's, what that means is I could have used a little bit less fat, but some of this is like vegetable oils coming off of those aromatics and everything. So what started out looking like a perfect blend of roux, well, I've rendered off more oil. So that's lots of different ways to do this. I love the texture of the vegetables in a stock, in a vegetable stock. Some people want to strain them. You can do that too. You can get your vegetables all in there, simmer down, rendered off all the juices, and then you can pour it through a sieve, and you're dealing with just the gravy, the broth of the gravy or whatever that you're going to make, without the pulp of the vegetables. Some people like that. I feel like maybe I'm robbing myself of some fibers and things like that. So I don't know. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing to do here except let this go on medium heat in this Teflon pan. And I'm going to cover it up, and I'm going to just leave it. And it's going to go like this for a few hours. I'm not going to continue this video because I've gone on for like nearly 35 minutes. By the time I finish yapping, I'm sure it'll exceed that. What I'm going to do is come back and I'll do a dinner video later in the night when this is done. This is going to be going on for a few hours, and the length that this cooks is going to bring all those flavors together. So what shall it be? Pasta, rice, a little bit of potato? I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided on that, but I know this is going to be lovely. Okay, so bon appetit. We'll see you guys later in a few hours when this is done. Ciao. Ciao bella.